Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. Everybody ready for the big snow? Wow, you think we were having Armageddon? All the all the grocery stores, the Lowe's, Home Depots. Oh my goodness! I stopped for lunch at Shoprite yesterday. What a mistake! The parking lot was filled. You would think that we'd never be getting out of the house. Anybody see on social media this past week? Some Providence in Russia. I saw this. I was like, holy cow. Got 7 feet of snow in one storm. Not exaggerating. 7 feet was over some of the houses and businesses. I was watching kids jumping off rooftops, going down like almost looked like a hill, which was pretty cool. But 7 feet of snow, that's insane. Now that's Armageddon. Imagine getting 7 feet of snow here. I think we'd be shut down for like a month. It's crazy, guys. We get snow all the time. People just lose their minds. And you know what's great is the weather forecasting. We've got all these people on social media that are weathermen. I've got the forecast for you. We're going to get snow. We're going to get rain. We're going to get sleet. We're going to get freezing rain. It's going to stop. I've seen predictions of anywhere from 4 inches to 20 inches. That's a big discrepancy. I don't know about you guys. I'm from Philly, and I remember a lot of the old school weather forecasters. Like people in Philly remember this: Herb Clark, Jim O'Brien, Tom Lemaine. I know New York. When cable came around, I know Pix 11 has Mr. G. These guys didn't have all this technology that today's forecasters have, and they still can't get it right. It's crazy. All this equipment, all these Dopplers, all these computer runs, all these Euro runs, all these NOM runs, and they still can't get the weather forecast right. You know what I tell you to do? Just look out your window and see what it's doing tomorrow. Just crazy. And schools are shutting down before even a snowflake, and state of emergencies before even a snowflake even occurs, even in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I remember back in the old days when they put a state of emergency out, it meant something. You weren't really supposed to go out unless you were an essential employee or law enforcement or emergency crews. Now it's like they throw state of emergencies out like they're candy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just a little pet peeve of mine with the weather and snow. Yeah, I'm all ready for it. I hate it. I hate the cold. I'm complaining. So let's get into the NFL. The playoffs are down to the final four. It's the NFC Championship, AFC Championship. We will know at the end of tomorrow at around probably 9 o'clock who will be playing in the Super Bowl. It'll start with the AFC. You've got New England going to Denver. Big story is Denver is going to be starting a backup quarterback in the championship game. A lot of people are going with New England. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Uh, Denver is a good defensive team. They're well coached, and they're utilizing this as a battle cry, no doubt. I like Denver in the game, and a lot of people are going New England. Oh, this is it. This is it. This is a piece of cake. It's all New England here with Denver without their starting quarterback. Be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm going to tell you. I think the best game of the day is in the NFC. I believe that's going to be their Super Bowl winner between the Rams and the Seahawks, two NFC West teams battling out again for the third time. The Rams, I've said throughout the whole season, they're probably the best team in the NFC, and I like them in this game against Seattle. They're well coached. They got awesome offense. Stafford's a good quarterback. They play good defense, and they're just playing well right now. They went into Chicago last week, which the world picked Chicago. The smart better knew to take the Rams. They went in, beat Chicago, and now they get a chance to take on their rivals from Seattle. Number one seed. Seattle's been playing good football. I like the Rams in that game. So I'm taking I like the two underdogs. So my Super Bowl pick here off the last four teams is going to be Denver and the Rams. The big question is what type of ratings will that Super Bowl get? Two West Coast teams. Does anybody on the East Coast really care at this point if those teams are in the Super Bowl? I'll watch it because I'm a sports fan and love football. But I wonder what the ratings will be if those two teams wind up being if Denver and the Rams are in the Super Bowl. Unless you're a fan of those teams, or just and you just watch the Super Bowl, it is what it is. Now let's talk about some baseball. It's a tough time being a Phillies fan right now. They really have done nothing. We all knew they were going to sign Kyle Schwarber. That was a gimme. They had no choice there. The Mets. I listen to New York sports talk a lot, and they're excited. For a while, a lot of the fan base in New York was like, "What are the Mets doing?" They just waited. And they've done getting Bo Bichette, which the Phillies thought they had a deal with him. They never did. The Mets have met with him twice. He was going to New York. These guys are about short-term deals right now. The reason why these short-term deals are big right now is in 2027, there will be a work stoppage. There will be a strike in Major League Baseball, and it will be for a while because the players don't want what the owners want right now. The owners right now in baseball want a salary cap. The players want nothing, and I repeat, want nothing to do with a salary cap in baseball. The owners want it, the players don't, and they are miles, and I mean miles apart. I think this work stoppage will be a while. I'm going to say this. It could be for most of the season in 2027. So I think a lot of these players that are opting into the smaller deals realize that. And some of these contracts are also stating if there is a work stoppage, some of the clauses in these contracts are saying we will give an extra year into the contract. So the Phillies are stuck in another generation here. They think the long-term deals are going to get it done. These players are looking at the average salary per year, and that's big here. And the Mets get it, and the Dodgers get it. The bottom line in baseball, it's the LA Dodgers and everybody else. The Dodgers right now. They had over, I think it was, I said 12 players that are making over $100 million. That's insane. Absolutely insane. You have the haves and the have-nots. Teams like Pittsburgh, these owners that aren't spending money with these teams like Pittsburgh and the A's should sell the team. These owners have money. There's no excuse why they can't go sign free agents and compete. And that's the bottom line. So the rest of the owners think these sub-markets like Pittsburgh think, oh, let's have a cap. They're still not going to spend money. The haves are still going to spend the money, even if you have a cap. The teams like the Dodgers, teams like the Yankees, and teams like the Mets are still going to spend. They're just going to get creative. They're going to get creative with the contracts. And that's what the Mets did. That's what the Dodgers do. Everyone's going, how do the Dodgers have all this money? They got creative with the contracts. They got people in the organization that are smart, know how to deal with money, how to utilize the contracts. I am not a Dave Dombrowski fan for the Phillies. He had his time. He's built championship teams in the past. The game has gone by him. I'm just not a fan. And he double talks. They're running back the same team, the Phillies, in 2026. And they're going to finish third. They're going to finish third in the NL East. I've been saying this for a while. The Braves, I think, are going to win the division. Last year, the Braves had a bad year for the Braves. Injuries, whatever. It was just one of those years that they had. That's a great organization. They're a consistent winner year in and year out. The Mets are going to be challenging for the division too in a playoff spot. The Mets are committed to winning. They're playing the game right, salary-wise, by signing players. Look, they got rid of Pete Alonso, and that's the big thing that most Mets fans aren't happy with is when they got rid of Pete. Pete's in Baltimore right now. I'm looking at the lines out for the teams are going to win the divisions and win the NL, the National League and American League, what the odds are. I'm looking at some of these odds. The Phillies for a while were up a little bit in the odds. I have right now the National League. Of course, you got the Dodgers. They've won the World Series twice. They're no doubt favorites to do it a third time. They went out, not only they went out, got Kyle Tucker, they got also the best closer who was on the Mets, Diaz, in baseball. They just got better, and they're already good. I mean, look what they won last year. They had all these injuries, and they still won the World Series. I know you hear, oh, Toronto should have won, shoulda, coulda, woulda. They didn't win. The Dodgers found a way to win, and that's what great teams do. They find ways when there's adversity to win, and the bottom line is they won the championship. Give kudos to Toronto. They did a great job in the World Series, and they're going to be a top team in the American League. The American League East is going to be monster this year. You got the Yankees going to be favored. You got the Blue Jays there with them. I like the Blue Jays. To beat a man, you got to beat the man. They're the defending champions. I like the Blue Jays. The Red Sox and the Orioles. I'm looking at these odds here of the top 12 teams. 4 of them are from the American League East, and the 3 in the National League are from the National League East. Now, here's what's happened. The Phillies were up there for a while before the free agent signings by the Mets. Right now, in the National League, you have the Dodgers 1 in the National League. The Mets are second favorites in the National League. The Braves, here are the Braves. I keep telling everybody, do not fall asleep on the Atlanta Braves this year. They are coming back, and they're going to be good. And they have a great manager, top to bottom, one of the best organizations in baseball. They're going to be back again in 2026. Then you have behind the Braves, the Phillies. Right there, you got the Mets, Braves, Phillies. Philly's going to finish third in the NL East. They're going to be battling for one of the last playoff spots. But really, what does winning 90 games going to do when you're going to lose in the first round anyway? I guess the Phillies organization is okay with that. They're not going to make the World Series. They just bring back the same group of guys. And look, I'm a Phillies fan. I like going to games. I like watching the games. And I'm a Kyle Schwarber fan, and I'm a Bryce Harper fan. They're running out of time. They had their time in 2022 when they made the World Series and didn't win. Then when they got knocked out the last couple of years, they had their time. They still couldn't get by the Mets 2 years ago, and they got knocked out by Arizona 3 years ago. It's, they didn't do anything different. I know you hear, they're going to bring Crawford up, and you hear the manager say, we don't have the same team as last year. We have different players. The core, you still have your same core guys that are going to be on the team again. The same 9 starters. Okay, you just signed JT to come back as a catcher. 3 years, $45 million. He's 35 years old. That was after Bo Bichette didn't get signed with the Phillies, and the Phillies just backed and said, we got to sign somebody. We got to bring back JT. You hear about they're going to bring up some players from the minor leagues. It's still the same core. Look at the starting pitching. You're depending on Wheeler to come back after his injury. Is he going to be able to pitch like he did before this year is the question. And he already said he was ready to retire. So does he come back this year and retire after this year? There's a lot of questions with Zach Wheeler coming back from that injury. You're putting a lot on him. Hopefully he comes back in the same form that he was before he got injured. That's a lot to ask. That's an awful lot to ask of a pitcher. So, baseball camps open in a few weeks. Pitchers and catchers report in the middle of February, and then the season starts the end of March. You know what I saw this week? You know what's pretty cool? How many baseball fans see these fantasy camps? I know the Phillies do them. Do any of the other major league teams do them? I'm sure they do. I think that would be pretty cool. What the Phillies do is they have a camp before spring training starts at the Clearwater facility, where as a Phillies fans, for example, you can book a trip, go to be part of the camp. You go practice on the field, you do some games, and you have former major league players that go to this camp to coach you and everything else. And they're grown men. They're past baseball prime, generally speaking. They're guys like my age going to this fantasy camp. I just saw on social media they were introducing like Ruben Amaro Jr., Larry Boa, some of the old Philly players that are down there at this camp. I think that's pretty neat. I see when I go down to Florida, it's pretty big right now down there is the senior softball league, which that's a bug up my rear end. I love sports and I love playing them. And when I go there, I go down there and watch these guys play. And, I joke with people when we were in 1980s, you say, you're going to Florida to die. Nah, that's incorrect. I saw some guys playing softball that could hit the ball a ton and were feeling the ball incredibly. So, there's the bottom line is these fantasy camps are for us guys that still feel like we're younger again and have that fantasy of playing the game. I think that's pretty cool that the Phillies do that. They've been doing that for years. I think that's really, really, really neat, by the way. So today, also, we got some excellent college basketball with college football ending this past Monday and Indiana winning the national championship. And I know many of us fell for that trap, and I'm included on that great story of Indiana. And it's still a great story. I'm not going to rip the story. But Indiana caught, as you read into the story some more and in depth, and this is what has happened to college football, the NILs. The athletes are getting paid. Indiana, get this, has 20 players over the age of 23. And also the NIL money that they spent was $1 million less than the Hurricanes of Miami. The NIL Indiana they were in the top 3 in NIL money. So the story was great. We all were full like the David versus Goliath story. But Indiana, most of their guys, if you were looking at on that field, were men playing against younger men. Most of the guys are over the age of 23. And I'm not going to belittle the story, the accomplishment that they did, but there's more to it than this David versus Goliath. It's not like the 1980 Olympics where you had the USA amateurs beating the Russian professionals. It wasn't anything like that. Indiana, great job. I mean, all due respect, it's not one of the same schools, but we see why Nick Saban got out of Alabama. He saw this happening early on. Alabama was probably the original paying players to play. Let's be real. And then now you got everybody paying players to play, and all the transfer portal. It's happening in college basketball too. We see it when you get to tournament time for college basketball. Kids are opting out, going into the transfer portal and going to another school, which is insane. Doing it during March Madness is crazy. And there's college football players do the same thing during bowl games and even some during the playoffs. But Indiana, read into the story more, they were 3rd in NIL spending money. So great story. They won the national championship. You look at next season, they're probably one of the top 4 schools right now that could win the title. I saw opening lines. They call it for next year already for college football. Indiana's I believe they were 3rd in line. I think I saw Ohio State was 1. 2 was Notre Dame, and then it was Indiana. Notre Dame will be back next year. I'm not a Notre Dame guy, but they have a bug up their rear end now after getting screwed, not getting into the playoffs. And they're going to have a lot to prove. And I saw their schedule, not a bad schedule. I saw that they play Miami and South Bend. That's their toughest game. But look out for Notre Dame next year. College basketball today. Some awesome games. One I'm looking at is UConn. It's got a local flair with the UConn Huskies and from New Jersey people here, and all you basketball fans that are familiar with their father, who is Bobby Hurley Sr. And some of you will ask, who's Bobby Hurley Sr.? A lot of sports folks here in New Jersey know who exactly that is. Bobby Hurley Sr. was a legend up in Jersey City for St. Anthony's High School. He coached there from 1972 to 2017. Has 25 state titles. Just a legend. The school's no longer there. Just an intense basketball coach, and he developed so many Division I players and NBA players. And his 2 sons, they played in the NBA. Excellent coaches. You got Dan, who's at UConn right now. UConn's number 2 in the country, 18-1. They'll play Villanova today in UConn. Villanova's 15-4 under first-year head coach Kevin Willard. Great job by Willard so far at Villanova, 15-4. This is a tough task for Villanova today. I looked at the spread. Villanova's like a 10.5-point underdog against UConn. UConn's really good. Danny Hurley's a great coach. And his brother, Bobby, which you're all familiar with, Bobby is the head coach at Arizona State. The nut doesn't fall too far from the tree. They come from a coaching family. They're very intense like their dad was. He was a perfectionist at practice. And it sounds like what I used to see when I was broadcasting high school football with Mike Pettin Sr. Seems that's old school mentality, tough practices, perfect practices make you ready for games and stuff like that. The typical old school type of coaching that would not make it in today's environment, no doubt. But yet it should be awesome to see that game. Villanova, like I said, under first year head coach Kevin Willard, 15-4. They look like they're going to make the tournament, which would be an excellent achievement under the first-year head coach. Willard's a good coach, really good coach. I saw him at Seton Hall. It was a good choice by Villanova, and we're seeing the players are responding to him. Usually when you go to a school, your first season, the players get used to when you really start seeing something with a program, it comes with recruiting, see what Villanova does with NILs. Within the 3rd year, you should see a turnaround. We've seen a turnaround already in year 1, which is impressive of the coach that Kevin Willard is. It's done a great job there at Villanova. So a little bit of stuff going on today. You got the college basketball. I talked a little bit about the MLB. We talked a little bit about the football games coming up tomorrow. NBA, I'm not really going to get into. The Knicks, the Knicks absolutely clubbed Brooklyn the other night by almost, I think Brooklyn scored 60 points. I think the final score was like 111-60. It was insane. The Knicks have been struggling. It's January. Should you be concerned? I don't know. It's a long season. They were 2-9 in 11 games before they played Brooklyn. Brooklyn was the best medicine for them. They just absolutely clubbed them. Tonight's a test for sure for the Knicks. They play the 76ers, who have beaten them twice. Both games were in MSG. Supposed to be on ABC, I believe, tonight, primetime game, as the Knicks go to Philly to take on the 76ers. This is a big game for the Knicks. They need to, show the Sixers that, hey, look, you beat us twice, whatever. We're the team to beat in the East, and most people think that they are, but they need to start waking up here and being that team if they're going to, or if they are that NBA championship caliber type of team that everybody says that they are. The Flyers, great win last night, excellent win last night against the best team in the NHL right now, the Colorado Avalanche. Nice win by Philly, by the Flyers. They had gone into a rut a little bit before this game. They had gotten out of that rut. They had lost 5 games in a row. Rick Tocchet does have these guys playing well. It's a long season. It happens. There's certain parts of a season you get into that rut. You don't want to have too many losing streaks, and the Flyers were in that losing streak and they stopped that. So we should see what they do going down the road here. All right, guys, I am still working on, just so you know, I was going to have a live guest this past Wednesday, had some technical issues. My apologies to that. I'm learning that aspect of this. It's amazing when you see these folks on radio, right? That they're a host of a show. The most important people behind the show are those in the back of the show, that are the producers. And doing this, I'm trying to do both, which is the technical portion of me. I'm trying to learn a little bit on my own. It's tough. So I really appreciate it. I want to apologize to all you guys what happened Wednesday. I figured it out. Eddie and I are going to be either doing our show together either tomorrow or Monday. I still have to work that out with him. I appreciate him taking the time out of his schedule, but we had talked about it after it happened. And it's going to either be tomorrow sometime in the evening or Monday. I will let you all know. It may be on short notice, and my apology. And I really appreciate your guys' patience with that. And I also want to say publicly, Isaac Fuchs, thank you. He helped me a little bit. He helped me, and my producer here helped me figure out what the issue was. It was probably my fault. I didn't have it in the right search engine. So you live and learn, right? So again, thanks for listening today, watching the show. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Near all my shows, you'll see the link if you ever want to come on when I'm live. The link will always scroll on the bottom. Like I said, I will let you guys all know about my show with Eddie Testa. Thank you very much, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. All right. Bye-bye now.